Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is your boy Kamen Rider Zero Spike back again once again. And today, people, today we're here for Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 48, and in this episode we get the debut of Kamen Rider Majid Twilight, and this form looked really cool. Like it looked pretty dope. It basically looked like her first form, but like you kind of shrunk the helmet down and you gave it some of like her dad's colors when he henshins. So it's like, you know, it didn't really show off that much power, but it did show off a really cool rider kick and a really cool henshin sound, which was dope. So in this episode we see that basically takes place right after the episode, our last episode, where we see that Kudo starts to feel pain from the alchemic circle that Gialia put on her, and she basically gets teleported, and Autotropes also gets teleported, and they basically get capture both of, she basically captures both of them, and when she captures both of them, she basically says that she's going to basically fuse them back together and basically turn Autotropes into a chimera. And when could that happen? Because they're like the three sisters are, and also Goodion, they're all like homunculus, right? They're homunculi, and the fact that you could turn them into a chimera, and then the chimera is basically like this big, all destroying, destructive creature, and it'll be completely just like, you know, under whoever made its control. And you know, that I guess that's basically what Gialia wanted to basically create, so she could like have this ultimate power. And yeah, so we see that Grihan goes back and finds Fuga and basically tells Fuga, hey man, save my daughter, man, she's all I got, and, you know, she's all the love, and she's the last light I have in my body. And then like Fuga's like, bro, I'm not finna just, like, bro's like, no. And also he's like, I'm not finna just look past everything that you've done. Like, you've done some pretty bad stuff. I'm not gonna just look over what you've done. And you know, but he did say that, Fuga's like, look, but I know by us working together we can save both our daughters, because that's the only reason Fuga really helps him. So they ended up getting captured, but they both ended up getting captured by Gialia, and Gialia basically forces them into like a game of Russian roulette, right? So they also can't move, because she also like trapped them inside of these alchemic circles, and they can't leave the circles or anything like that. So we see they get forced into this game of Russian roulette. Like this, it has one bullet in it, and you know, every time they have to pass the gun around, and whoever gets the bullet, right? Basically Russian roulette. So we see that Ichinose is also on his way. He's trying to find a way there, and when he gets to the I guess the base that they were in, the base that Gialia was in, he basically finds like a mirror. He finds a mirror there, and he tries to, like, while he's trying to break into there, we see that Goodion and Fuga are talking with each other, and they're talking about the past. They're talking about like how they all used to work together and stuff like that. And then, you know, Goodion basically saw how Fuga was with Kudo when she was a kid, and even though he was like a sadistic monster, he still kind of wanted like his own daughter, his own kid, and stuff like that, showing how he created Autotropes. And that's why we know that Autotropes is the oldest sister of the Abyssal sisters. So we did see that Spanner was in Fuga's lab. He was in Fuga's building, and I don't even know how he got there. Like, we just saw Spanner like walk away from the fight he had with Ichinose, and we didn't see him pass out or anything. So it's like, well, kinda, but we see that Fuga basically found him, and he's nursing him back to health and things like that, which is also leading up to the next episode where we see Spanner's new form. So we see Ichinose is trying to break in there. The two guys are talking about the past. They're talking about, you know, how they were, things like that, like I said before. And he's like, I just wanted like a daughter. I wanted like a love that you had. I wanted a daughter like you had. And yeah, we also see how Klukto is off looking for Laculus, but she's only in 2 scenes, and that's really it. I don't know why she ran off looking for Laculus when your big sister is right there in front of you, about to get about to get turned into this monster, and you didn't even try and help her. It was so stupid. But then by the end of the episode, you still came and tried to help her, which was still weird. But yeah, so we see that the bullet actually ends up going off, and Grion as it gets ready to blast Fuga. But then we see that Ichinose was able to break into the place, and Gyalia's like, "How were you able to get in here?" He's like, he said, "Well, only thing you said people you don't want can't get in here, so I just transformed into a gun, and then I felt like a gun probably be the only one of the things to get in here." Because we see that the bullet, when he shoots the bullet ends up transforming into butterflies, and we see we get a return from the little pistol gun form that he could transform into, that Ichinose could transform into. He transformed into the gun, and then he transformed into the little pixie gun, and then disguised that gun as the regular gun that they were using, which was like, how did he do that? how did he do that just like that? We didn't even see him think of that. It's just like we're missing some context with some of the things that were happening. We're kind of missing some kind of context what was going on. But yeah, Ichinose did that. He transformed, and in this whole episode he's in his base form, and I guess he's in his base form just to like, he's using the X Saber. The X Saber he has, he transforms when he transforms into X-Rex, he's using that sword in his base form. And yeah, so he transforms in there, he starts fighting Gyalia, he ends up freeing both of them, and they end up getting ported into they end up getting out of the building. They're outside now, and we see that he ends up saving Kudo and Autotropes, because they got transformed, they got put inside of Kimi cards. And then Autotropes is like, "Why are you so concerned for me? Like, I made your life hard. I made your life a living hell, and the fact that you like have all this concern for me is weird. The fact that I was modeled after you, I hate it. I don't believe it." And she was also she also had a lot of faith in Grion, because like he said, yeah, your dad's gonna die, because my dad is not gonna hesitate to kill your dad and like save me. So yeah, like that's how Autotropes is kind of like treating this. But we see that everybody's outside now. We see that Ichinose is still fighting Gyalia, and they ended up still like using that evil power on the two girls, but they try to. But we end up seeing that when he saves both the girl, when everybody's saved and the girls get out the cards, Kudo and Fuga, they hug it out. And then Grion goes up to Autotropes, and he's like, "Yeah," he said, "my darling little daughter," and stuff like that. He hugs her, and he tells her that, he said, "Hey, I never really cared about you." I never really cared about you. And he ends up changing Gyalia's alchemic circle into his own alchemic circle, and he puts a curse on Kudo and says that, "Hey, within 10 minutes your daughter's gonna die, and when she dies, the Autotropes will transform into the Chimera, and I'll have the ultimate power at my side," and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, like, what the? And he actually tells Autotropes that, yeah, all my love for you and all that stuff, all that was a lie. I faked caring about you. And it's like, dang, like, bro, like, Autotropes loved freaking Grion. Like, she was like, that whole arc where he was gone, she was trying to find all kinds of ways to get her daddy back. And it's like, now it's just like, yeah, I never cared about you, I just wanted to transform you into the Chimera and stuff. And she's like, what? And we see how, like, Autotropes is very, very like she's like an unexpressive character. Like, she doesn't have regular emotions and stuff like that. She kind of keeps a straight face with everything. So this, like, genuinely, like, because it hurts her. It's like, but you're my dad, I thought you cared about me. But it's like, nah. So he ends up pulling out this golden sword and fighting Fuga and stuff, and it was just weird. And then, like, Gyalia still fighting Ichinose, that she is firing a blast at Kudo, trying to stop the whole Chimera thing from happening. And then that's when Autotropes jumps in the front of a blast. She takes the blast, and we see that her and Kudo have like a heart-to-heart talk and stuff, and then like Kudo ends up Autotropes ends up dying. And yeah, it's like everybody's kind of pissed, and that Kudo's kind of pissed, and then like Gurion really don't give a duck, and he's still fighting Fuga. And then that's when even Cluto gets there, and she was like, I was too late, I couldn't save her. I was like, what are you talking about? You went looking for Laculus earlier. What are you talking about? Like, Cluto, like, what? You obviously showed that you care about Laculus way more than you care about Laculus way more than you care about Autotropes. But other than that, we see that Kudo gets pissed, and she ends up using what's left of Autotropes' like body. She uses like her alchemy and creates like a darkness form, like a darkness ring version of her own ring. And then her belt also transforms, and then she ends up using it and scanning both of those rings, and also her two Kimmies also evolve, and she transforms, and we end up getting the Kamen Majid Twilight, and this form was cool. It was cool, and she ends up defeating Gyalia. So when she ends up defeating Gyalia, we see her Philosopher's Stone comes out of her body, which I kind of forgot that was a thing. I kind of forgot that they have Philosopher's Stones inside of them. But the Abyssal Kings, stuff like that. It kind of makes sense that they have it. We just haven't really seen it like that. Now, we really didn't see a Philosopher's Stone when Jeremiah died. So hey, so we see that Gurion tries to take the Philosopher's Stone for himself, and he tries to absorb it. But then that's where Big Boy Gigas came up out the shadows, and from what he was doing, and he ends up taking the Philosopher's Stone for himself. And he says that, hey, you could have this power too if you come back and join me as your doll. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And he's like, yeah, I may have lost that power, I may have lost my Chimera, but I'm down one more, but we're down one more Abyssal King, and we're good. So, and then Gurion goes with this whole evil villain speech saying that, you're all invited to my golden world that I'm gonna create and stuff like that. And Gigas just leaves. He's like, and he leaves. But then so the episode basically ends, and we get like previews of the next episode, and they end up hugging it. Everybody ends up hugging it out, stuff like that. We see that Ichinose is beat up to all hell as usual, and now we gotta see. Now we gotta really go fight Gurion now, because I feel like he hasn't really gotten stronger. We see how like he did absorb some of that power from Gyalia's Philosopher's Stone before Gigas took it. But yeah, I still do think we gotta get rid of Gigas now. He's the last Abyssal King. We're back at it again, trying to get rid of Gigas. And then after that, Gurion's you next. But other than that, this episode was fine. It was just, there were like scenes that had like missing context. Like, how did Ichinose get in there? How did he even figure out how to get in there with the pistol stuff and all that? It was just weird. And then the same thing with the Abyssal Sisters and Kudo. Like, it was still fine though. It was still a fine episode. Got the debut of a new form, which was really cool. And we're getting the debut of another new form later. Like, the secondary writers are getting their forms before this series freaking ends. We're on episode 48. So I don't know how long Gotchard's gonna be. Maybe it'll last till 50, maybe it'll last till 51 maybe. But yeah, I hope we get to see a lot more of Spanner's form in this next episode. Seems like it's gonna be more cybernetic and more like man-made type of thing, with the way he has like a scouter and everything, which is kind of cool. But other than that, like, I'm just ready to see how that's gonna be. But other than that, you guys let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about this episode of Kamen Rider Gotchard. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and remember, as I always say, guys, stay henshined.